tonight's articles that I picked tonight. We're going to watch a quick video on Marc Morano, who is getting, in my opinion, a lot of exposure on Fox News. It's been a lot back and forth between Fox Business News, but it's really good to see him actually getting some Fox News coverage and not Fox Business News. A lot more people have this channel versus the business version of it. Also, Brian Kilmeade, who is a very worthy host. I listen to his radio program, or I used to in the mornings. But so it's good to see people like Marc getting a little love in the mainstream media. But let's go ahead and watch this quick video here.
All right, it's the latest item on the chopping block for climate change activists. Best animation ever. A new report from the UN says eating less meat is crucial to saving the planet. The planet we're discussing, Earth. Here to weigh in is executive editor of theclimatedepot.com and author of The Politically Incorrect Guide to Climate Change, Marc Morano. Marc, if we don't stop eating meat, what will happen to the planet? Nothing good, according to the UN.
Yeah, the UN is at it again after saving the planet in 2015 with the UN Paris Agreement. And I mean, they had celebrations. They've finally done it. They're now saying that they didn't save the planet, that now we need a massive expansion of the UN's regulatory power by limiting and reducing and actually getting rid of meat eating altogether. So that's their new target.
And, of course, the U.S. eats more meat, I guess, they claim. The average American consumption of beef is 57 pounds a year, poultry 110, and pork around 50. So the question is, what do those numbers do to the environment?
Well, they're claiming that meat eating is one of the most destructive environmental affections. They're saying that emissions from cows in past reports are more emissions than all of the transportation sector, airlines, planes, automobiles combined. So they have made the cow their primary target. And this goes into the Green New Deal as well. The Green New Deal is going after meat eating as well. The former United Nations chief actually said they want to treat meat eating, banish meat eaters to the separate section like they used to do smokers in restaurants. The former UK climate advisor and involved with the UN has said we need to make meat eating soaring costs. If your behavior, like eating meat, is in odds with the climate agenda, you are now at odds with the regulatory state. Right. And they're talking about huge taxes, 19% tax in Germany right now.
I don't want to get too distracted, but if we have to get rid of our energy sector, right, because, of course, that's destroying the world. Now we have to tell the farmers and tell those ranchers, get rid of cattle. Is anyone going to work anymore? We're just going to get Andrew Yang's $1,000 a month and then go to the Walmart. Meanwhile, here's a look at how much we have. They say that America eats 25% of the world's meat. So again, all eyes on us.
All eyes on us. And interestingly enough, back in the 1970s, they predicted a food catastrophe based on the global cooling scare. Now they're saying because of global warming, we need to change our meat habits. This is nothing more than regulatory lifestyle controls directed by the UN. They're empowering themselves with this report. They claim more than 100 experts came together. It's an open call by the United Nations for activist policy in taxes, in regulation. And we've already seen many activists come out with ideas like the meat patch, like a nicotine patch to induce allergies so people won't eat meat. And it's getting wackier and wackier, but they're dead serious. They're going after meat eating in a way that we've never envisioned. Taxes.
How soon to protesters start storming into restaurants, find people with a steak and start screaming at them, some face painters with loud signs. Meanwhile, the co-chair of the UN panel on climate change says this: we don't want to tell people what to eat. Actually, they do. But it would indeed be beneficial for both climate and human health if people in many rich countries consumed less meat, and if politics would create appropriate incentives to that effect. And appropriate incentives make it so expensive that people don't want to eat meat.
Yeah, appropriate incentives are taxes. Germany, 19% tax on meat now to save the planet. This is what the entire agenda is about. It would have no impact on the climate. There are actually studies, one from Carnegie Mellon, showing that vegetables have 3 times the supposed climate impact that meat does. It all depends how a food's prepared. Organic farming, much more land intensive than traditional farming. There's all different ways to look at this, and the UN has simplified it to we know best, we want to regulate how you eat.
And by the way, look it up. We might show it a little bit later. Senator Elizabeth Warren got schooled by an Iowa farmer yesterday on the new Green Deal and everything else Democrats stand for. Marc Morano, thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian.
All right,
appreciate it.
So here we go again. YouTube gremlins. I don't know. Maybe not. Thanks to Fox News and Marc Morano once again for this interview. And the reason why I showed you guys this video tonight was because Marc said it best. I tried to talk about this a couple nights ago. We talked about the meat banning and people eating insects. Germany's wanting to implement a 19% tax. And, you know, the one thing that stuck out with me on this video, I like the way Marc put everything, and it almost echoes what some of us are saying and talking about in the chat and on this broadcast as well. So this to me is what it's supposed to look like when you talk about people working together and sharing the information, not overdoing it, not underdoing it. But again, thanks to Marc Morano with his work, Climate Depot, and I'm glad to see him getting some love in the mainstream. And I think Fox News, of all the networks, is brave enough to put these guys on their programs as if to hint to its audience and saying, hey, we're listening. We think these Green New Deal policies are ridiculous. Now, that's my hope. It could be that Fox News just wants these guys to be talking against the Green New Deal, and maybe they just love the fact that people like Marc Morano have so many stats that go against the Paris Climate Pact and the Green New Deal, and maybe Fox News just gobbles that up, and they love that there are some very brilliant people out here on the right who are able to debunk this man-made global warming nonsense. But I don't think it's that at all, though, because we've seen Morano before on Fox Business News, and now he's working his way up to Kilmeade. And in my opinion, he's a watchable guy. I've never had an issue with anything Brian's ever reported on, and I think he's always been about providing truth and doing what's right for the people. But just another example of what we can achieve if we all stay on message. Those of us who follow Grand Solar Minimum topic, this is the message. If we stick together and we're all one voice, just think about how much impact it's going to be in the future, in the near future as well. As far as making things aware, I don't think the government is going to be able to hide this behind the global warming curtain anymore. And a lot of folks are concerned about this 2020 election. Climate change is the number one. I'm going to skip that and I'll go right back to it. Climate change is going to be the top or second priority in the presidential debate. And here we have Climate Crusader Tom Steyer money bombs his way into the Democratic presidential debates. And what he's going to do is he's going to declare the climate emergency now. Now, why am I talking about this? Because this might be the only guy right now in the Democratic Party that could win the primaries and actually go against President Donald Trump for the 2020 election. Now, I don't think Tom is qualified or has any different skills that would make him a better president than what we have right now. In fact, what scares me about Tom is if the majority of the people were to follow this message and his powers, executively anyway, what that would do to our economy. What's frightening to me is there's so many talks about Green New Deal policies kicking in around the United States, state by state right now. Minneapolis has a city where they want to ban drive-thrus. New York wants to start banning carbon and natural gas and wants to go to all solar and wind. And I'll be talking about why that's still a worse idea than what's happening. So right now, a lot of these Democratic candidates are gearing up for the election and the debates, and they're going to make climate change a top priority in these debates amongst themselves. And there's not going to be a debate, basically, when they're doing the primaries. They all believe in this Green New Deal. But the reason why this Tom guy could be possible threat to our country is because he's the only candidate right now that doesn't have questionable rhetoric about our country or some radical idea other than his climate change ideas. Everything else, maybe you guys can correct me in the comment section, but so far this Tom Steyer guy seems like a dark horse in the race. But also, if you're a voter out there that doesn't believe in the far left and what their goals are, you might take a chance on a guy like this because he's going to talk a lot about how he wants to save the planet. We've got to do something now. That's what he's going to be talking about. And he's rich, guys. He's got lots of money. So it says right here, just in the last month, he's dropped $2.9 million in Facebook ads. Washington, money can't buy you love, but it looks like it can buy you a spot on the presidential debate stage. He is going to ignite this climate change debate, folks. With his background and what he does already. Tom Steyer's 11th hour bid to run for president left many Democrats stunned. Why the change of heart? It's partly because Steyer believes he's the best on climate change in the crowded field. And I'm not going to agree because he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to agree with that statement because out of all these other clowns that are trying to be president, they really don't have a clue. Even, honestly, I mean, Trump has a little bit of an idea, but he still won't get behind the whole idea. He won't come out and just say CO2 is not causing warming. So until he says that, I'm going to say he's on the fence as well. So right now, in my opinion, I don't think there's anybody in the government that understands climate change and what's happening right now. I think that the Trump administration is showing some concern and curiosity on why we should accept this current climate science that's been shoved down our throats. Trump is raising the question, why not debate it? Why not look at both sides? I think a lot of things are getting ready to change really soon, and that could be good. A lot of that has to do with the internet censoring people like us. That's about to be over with. And there's a large fine waiting for some of these companies who have been censoring people who present facts and truth. This isn't some conspiracy theory channel about, fake events and fake aliens or whatever. We're not making this up. Everything here we talk about is verifiable. Even in the articles that we read here in the in your whatever you want to call it, the blogs. I always get cited. Oh, you brought that from a climate blog. That's not facts. Well, they leave the links to the actual source where they get this information. So, but anyway, this is starting to get a little bit interesting now, as Tom Steyer is now jumping in to run for president. But is he really expecting to win? Is he just a plant for the global warming front? Or does this guy have a serious chance of winning? I know a lot of people are having a hard time embracing Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie seems to be fading away. His wave was over in the 2016. And if anything, I'll tell you what, I think Bernie Sanders was probably done wrong in his primary back in 2016. There was a lot of momentum on his side in that Democratic Party. But I think his time is come and gone. And now there's reports saying that Biden is getting in his own way. He's a disaster in public. I heard him, he was quoted saying, "We want the truth over facts," is what he was quoted saying. So now they want to limit his public appearances, maybe do it after his afternoon nap and not before. That way he's not so groggy and unclear what's happening. But anyway, not to go off on a political rant here, but I just wanted to throw this article out there to you guys and show you that this election season is going to be one to watch, not for the politics, but I bet you we could play a drinking game on how many times we roll our eyes at these Democrats when they start talking about climate change. In fact, we'd all probably be smashed drunk by the 5th minute of this debate. I'm sure of it. So we'll leave the link at thegrandsolarminimum.com, where Mari takes great time in putting all this together.